Hey, how we going, guys? Mick here from Upcartel. Back another kick-ass beer review. Going to review another Wicked Elf beer that is their Fastidious Bastard clone. So one of those few recipes that Daniel Footloose Law was sent. He's passed them on to me once again, and I'm just brewing them slowly, one by one, and as a tribute to Wicked Elf, who is recently decided to, once again, as mentioned in previous videos, decided to shut down and pull the plug on that special venture there, mid North Coast, Port Macquarie. It is brew day here. We are doing a Little Creatures, pretty close to a Little Creatures clone. It was their Dreadnought beer. They've done the Return of the Dreadnought, single batch release. The ones I was given along with a shirt. There may be videos here where I was actually wearing the Dreadnought shirt from Little Creatures. They'd done cans, they'd done small bottles, they'd done large bottles, and I was given the larger bottles, and it was an exceptional beer. So I've done a little bit of a research, and sort of reached out for some feedback on how to go about doing this beer. Was given a decent amount of feedback. Research has also turned up a decent amount of information as well. So we're doing that clone here today, hoping to get as close as I possibly can to that beer. It's going to be hard once again if you haven't got a side-by-side comparison of what that beer was or is. Then you know it's hard to work out whether you've got the not an exact but a close replica of that beer. So the beer today, the Wicked Elf Fastidious Bastard, West Coast IPA style beer, followed pretty much with this one down to the T with the recipe, and no real changes at all. We've just sort of swapped out what was available in equivalent to the malt. Hops are all the same. Yeast is the same, BRY 97, absolute beast, that yeast. It is no wonder it is definitely a favourite of many breweries, and particularly home brewers as well. So I'm just pouring that one up, going into the Hoppy Days Brewing Supplies glass here. I wanted to get a few of their releases to do side-by-sides, as I mentioned, along with that single batch of the Dreadnought. Naming this one Ghosts of the Dreadnought. There's a video coming up once that's all gone through its stages and ready for presentation. Yeah, Ghosts of the Dreadnought, foreign export stout. So yeah, it's about this beer. That colour, you know, West Coast. There is some West Coast beers that are out there. Once again, I try to get a few of their samples for side by side. Just went and researched what that colour should be. So quite a few there. We've untapped, showing photos of what the beer should look like. It's pretty spot on. There is some there that show decent clarity, and many that will show a hazy, very much a hazy West Coast appearance to the beer itself. So I've just a couple of days ago turned the gas off on this beer, just to try and settle it down a little bit. It was, like some of them, are quite excited, so there's not a hell of a lot of a head there, but if you go to a pub, you pay for a beer, yeah, you want a full glass, so I'm giving you a full glass today. So pine, resin, lovely background, malt bill, sort of malt background to it. Smells sweet, which is good. It is very much the old school West Coast IPA what I expect to get through a lot of breweries these days. Some of the New World ones are extremely well balanced and are really nice beers, but really do like going back to the old school West Coast, East Coast sort of vibes. A little bit of tropical notes there, but those big sort of pine, those lasting pine and balanced malt aromas that I'm getting off the beer is what we're really searching for, particularly with the old school like this. Once again, the appearance is well within those tolerances of what these photos that have been uploaded to Untapped and other sort of beer brewing, beer tasting platforms like that. In for the taste. Slight spice, which was one of their descriptors from memory. Big sort of pine, very long bitterness off the back. That's only the first sip, but going for another sip, I'm probably going to get much more of the same off the back of it. That is, this bitterness are just, I mean, the malt, the flavour, the sweetness is there in the beginning, the pine and everything, but this bitterness, it just keeps travelling, and it's not offensive in any way. It's just one of those bitterness. It just travels really well. So the balance of this one, mainly, I find due to the hop additions. And the uses, these hops that these guys use, excuse me, it is very much old school. It's sort of, for some people would find it as a harshness. For me, it's not harsh at all. I just find it sort of more of a long lasting, and this is what this beer calls for. As once again, everything's been followed to a T. So with those recipes that we've been handed, water additions, all the balances that come with, hop, malt, and all that sort of stuff that comes with those recipes, definitely been followed with. So as is the last one that I've done, the switch up there was their Foster Pale Ale and the use of the Belgian ale yeast, which really threw that beer left field to where it should be. So that beer will get done again, and we'll follow it to Wicked Elf's ingredients, their recipe as a whole. But this one is spot on for the descriptor. Once again, I wish I had that side by side. Getting a little bit hard to pick up their releases at the moment. They're just honouring contracts, as I think I mentioned in the previous video, and they are sold out along across many sort of subscription online beer sales, beer dealers, locals. You might not never see it in your local again, and for any pub that's got contracts for these beers on tap, they're probably the last ones that are going to see things like this. So kegs are probably the last thing that these guys are concentrating on, to make sure that they're looking after those substantial contracts regarding these beers. Can't wait to get around to brewing the Mad Abbott Christmas Ale, the quadruples. There is a couple of bottles sitting there I've still got from 2013 and 2015 releases, unopened, been stored correctly, been looked after. So those videos are coming quite soon. In for another taste. Really enjoying having access to those recipes. Yeah, thanks again to Daniel, and a huge thanks to Wicked Elf for being generous and sharing those recipes. Once again, like I said, I'd probably leave it up to Daniel to say when we should share these, if ever. Reach out. You may get the sort of you may get those recipes handed out to you as well. But until then, we'll hang on to them, and we'll keep doing what we're doing. There's a few to get through there, as mentioned, probably 6 or 7 at the moment. Cheers.